Hi, this is the second part of our trilogy on Scope 3 emissions, where we're going to look at double counting and how to approach measurement. To learn more about the basics of what Scope 3 emissions are, have a look at last week's video and don't forget to join us next week where we're going to look at changing target setting guidance. A common objection to measuring Scope 3 emissions is that it will involve double counting with other companies. And it's true, your Scope 3 emissions will be someone else's Scope 1, 2 or even 3 emissions as well. But so what? Double counting doesn't actually matter. To understand your company's contribution to climate change, you need to build that picture across the whole value chain. Decarbonising that value chain is then critical for a low carbon economy. And understanding the full picture is really important from a risk management perspective. If you haven't started measuring Scope 3 emissions or only have a really partial view of them, the best thing to do is work methodically through those 15 categories of emissions and do high-level estimates of where the biggest contributors are likely to be. That way you can then focus your efforts on improving the data in the areas that matter most. But the actual maths and calculations are really straightforward, so gather the data and go from there. Other things, often the larger contributors to your Scope 3 emissions, can be a bit harder to estimate. These are things like your purchased goods and services, or the downstream use of your end product, or any investments or financed emissions. There are, however, now simple spend-based methodologies that do exist, are freely accessible, and can help you build those high-level initial estimates. These are the sorts of methods used by some of the software companies that aim to help SMEs measure their Scope 3 emissions. Companies like Kogo or the normative platform on the SME Climate Hub spring to mind. If you go with this approach, you can at least build a rough estimate of where the biggest sources of your Scope 3 emissions are. Use the 80-20 rule and go from there. If you want to learn more about how and where to start, please get in touch. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to join us next week when we'll look at changing target setting guidance.